I'm so traumatized, chat. But hi, YouTube! We're gonna be watching the top 10 most criminally misunderstood animals by the Casual Geographic. Because we want to watch cute animal videos to make the world a better place. Especially criminally misunderstood animals. Why is my nose? My nose feels so stuffy. Why am I getting sick all of a sudden?
Can recognize their caretakers and show affection. Will bond with certain individuals and follow them around. Will often bring someone an object and play tug-of-war. Gentle, inquisitive, and very intelligent. You'd think all this was from someone describing their dog. Actually, these quotes are all from people talking about vultures. The
Look at his little face! It's creepy and cute.
Jurassic-sized graveyard griefing alopecia pigeon actually has the personality of an imprinted puppy. You might not know that, because most times people see one, it's either thousands of feet above the earth looking for death, or on the ground feeding off it. Truth is, the vulture just might be the most generationally misunderstood bird, and in the spirit of Earth Day, I'm going to be talking about the top 10 most maligned and honestly reputationally screwed over animals. In my biased opinion. Can't please everyone, but I like my list, so let's get into it. Starting off, it's not hard to see how vultures got done dirty. It's pretty hard to earn public favor when you dive bowels deep in a bloated buffalo for a living. Then you
I think also humans as a whole are for some reason scared of big birds. Like they think the big birds, maybe it's like eagle propaganda or something, but they're really scared of big birds. Like they're gonna just come and swoop down even though we're too big to be their prey.
At the fact that they'll leak liquid nasty all over their legs to stay cool, projectile vomit in self-defense, and in a world of pretty privilege, vultures have a homely handicap. But anyone who's worked with them will swear by how smart they are. They're arguably the smartest birds that aren't corvids or parrots, and they're part of the exclusive group of animals able to make and use tools, with Egyptian vultures using a rock to have an ostrich-sized omelet. And yeah, get on their good side and it's like having a lapdog with wings. Apollo was a turkey vulture who apparently caught feelings for her caretaker Dave.
Also, that's a turkey vulture. It looks like a little turkey. Look at it. I mean, Dave Dave is pretty fine. I get it, bird.
They're also smart enough for a vulture vendetta to be a real thing. But what makes them underrated is just how much worse our quality of life would be without them. Botulinum toxins is the deadliest natural substance known to man, and vultures eat it like candy. Vultures can also take tuberculosis, anthrax, and even the bubonic plague.
What? The vultures eat the diseases? What the hell? Eagle Illuminati? Yes, don't you know? Eagles are just trying to make it seem like all the birds are scary.
Folks associate them with death and disease, but that's exactly what they help prevent. And if you want to know what happens when you avoid vultures, look no further than India. With about a 99% loss, vultures in India suffered one of the worst bird blights in history, mostly thanks to a drug given to cattle that also caused kidney failure in the feathery coffins. And with less of nature's cleanup crew taking care of expired bodies, the number of feral dogs went up, and so did cases of rabies. And if you remember my Halloween video, a rise in rabies might be the biggest jihad to the human race. But that's not the only social work vultures offer for free. The turkey vulture's nose is so OP, they've actually been used to help find gas leaks, with engineers putting special chemicals in pipes. And with them being more corpse happy than a necro in a morgue, many places rely on vultures as alarms against poaching activity. Unfortunately, the poachers started to catch on and have been murking the snitch tweeties by the hundreds, even the ones that are endangered. Worst part is, they're
Wow, poachers are the worst.
pretty easy targets because it's hard to hide when you're part-time in the sky, and there's no witness protection for a sewer stork. Pretty easy to victimize when you're vulnerable and easy to track, and these are vultures we're talking about. It's not like they have cloaks or camouflage or a VPN. And you know, that last one would actually help a lot, since something like NordVPN would help the sky caskets go off the grid, since NordVPN creates an encrypted tunnel
What a transition into an ad!
for your data and protects your identity by hiding your IP address, which means, unlike vultures, you can disappear to a place no poacher can find you. Another difference is where you can find a flying carcass merchant anywhere that isn't Antarctica or, weirdly enough, Australia. NordVPN allows you to connect to one of thousands of servers across countries all over the world, which means if you want to enjoy some wild Australian entertainment without entertaining the Australian wild, the servers of Down Under are only a click away. And where vultures clearly invested in being a tank of a raptor, with reliable servers, you never
All the Joeys are jacked, Zach. They jacked. Joey's jacked.
have to feel like you sold your speed for security. And like how the V-Bird's liquid assault protects it from bacteria, NordVPN's threat protection shields you from
kangaroos are dicks.
I mean, they just trying to live their life. But yeah, they're little trolls.
ads, trackers, and malware. along with a dark web monitor to make sure your personals don't end up in the wrong place and leave you more violated than a past tense pig. So to get the most out of your streaming service, you go to nordvpn.com/casualgeo for an exclusive deal on a 2-year plan plus 4 months extra, and with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, it's virtually risk-free. Nothing about being a vulture is risk-free.
Why does his face look so derpy? These look like old man vultures. Look at their little wrinkles.
That's why the condor nearly got wiped off the census. But in a W from humanity, conservation efforts help bring the big bird back from the brink.
Let's go!
Hopefully people start to come around to vultures. Anything that chill with capybara can't be that bad. Just too bad you can't say that about number 9.
Dolphins?
The Grim Reaper once released a gang of guppies into the Amazon and made it our problem. Or at least that's what you would think from how much the media gets on them. You've probably heard that piranhas can undress a cow down to the bones in minutes, and that skinny
piranhas.
Suddenly really glad we're in North America.
Pool of piranhas is one way to get blacklisted from breathing. Truth is, these fish felons are mostly scavengers, and when you do see one with an expired body, they're usually not the cause, but a symptom. They don't go out of their—
Yeah, I recently found out that piranhas are not that bad. You know, there's that would you rather swim in a lake of piranhas? I think as long as the piranhas have recently been fed, I am fine.
Their way to homicide humans. Most attacks involve people either splashing around like prey or getting way too close to a feeding frenzy. But they're basically the bees of water. They don't want smoke, quite the opposite. For all that face, piranhas are naturally timid and scare easy. So much that you actually have to give them places to hide in an aquarium because of just how neurotic they are. Also, they're not strictly meat. They'll also eat fruits, they'll eat seeds.
They'll eat fruits! Aww, fruit fish! There's a lot of animals that people will call menace. You know, technically, some people think bears and raccoons are menaces because they get into their garbage. It's just like, dude, maybe not have garbage? Have you ever tried not having garbage?
Leaves. There's even a type that eats mostly river reeds. But that wouldn't really make a good movie, now would it? Now, I'm not gonna sit here and act like they're not capable of mass destruction, but their PR team really did them filth. Jeremy Wade sat in a pool of alleged—
I wonder.
I've met deer in the forest. They're nice.
Yeah, they're very nice. They're very nice. Just eat all the garbage. Yeah, just eat the garbage. Just eat the garbage. Also, I wonder where this misconception of piranhas came from. Was it just from the Piranha movie? And why did the Piranha movie decide that that's what they wanted to do? Why did they pick this creature?
trigger happy piranhas and didn't even get touched. And the whole cow story came from the Theodore Roosevelt hunting expedition where he saw it happen. The catch is the guides wanted to impress the president because who wouldn't? So they actually netted off a section of the river and starved the fish in it for a week, only to feed them with a cow while Roosevelt was watching. And just like the cow—
oh my god, they purposely starved a bunch of piranhas to impress the president. Oh, that's where it came from.
the piranha's reputation never recovered.
Oh,
Sometimes
wow.
all it takes is one incident to royally screw over an animal. Something next on the list knows all too well.
He keeps showing pictures of dolphins, and I'm like, where's the dolphins?
Let's just get this out the way. There are some deaths where you never forget where you were the moment you found out. For me, that's Kobe Bryant, Chadwick Boseman, and of course, Khaki Animal Jesus, aka Steve Irwin. And many have had smoke for stingray kind ever since.
The crazy thing about that is that, he's done so much crazy, dangerous stuff, and a stingray was just accident. It was just an accident. Stingrays are so innocent. They would never hurt anyone. They would never hurt anyone on purpose. It was purely accident.
Before you go wage war on a water waffle, first we gotta talk about just what went down. For one, Steve Irwin got struck directly in the heart, causing massive bleeding. He also never traveled with anti-venom, because anti-venom was anti-Irwin. Wouldn't have mattered anyway, because it wasn't even the venom that did it. Again, it was the bleeding. Stingray venom isn't even all that fatal. And at the time, it was only the second reported stingray-related death in Australia since 1945. It took over an hour for him to get to emergency workers, but again, it probably wouldn't have made a difference. The point is, literally everything that could have possibly went wrong, went wrong. Like piranhas, stingrays are what a New Yorker might call a scariad that would rather run away than run a fade. I went to the Cayman Islands a couple of months ago and visited Stingray City, and as someone religiously terrified of the ocean, I can tell you, the crepe of the coast is in fact chill like that.
They are the sweetest little creatures. They really are. It's like such a crazy fluke thing that happened. Crikey! It's such a fluke thing that happened, but I feel like now a whole entire generation of people will be forever slightly afraid of stingrays because they're like, what if I am as unlucky as he is?
Pro tip, if you're ever walking around stingrays, do the stingray shuffle. You're just gonna want to drag your feet. Basically, you don't want them to leave the floor in case RNG makes you turn a ray into a welcome mat. Other than that, unless you're a crab or a fish, you really don't have much to worry about. Besides, let's not act like Steve Irwin, the same man that took a love bite from a cobra and said sorry to the snake, isn't somewhere in the afterlife eternally apologizing to the stingray for spooking him. Stingrays have been misunderstood ever since, but we can drop the vendetta. If we know anything about Steve, that's exactly what he would have wanted.
Yeah, more people die to cows, to sharks, and sharks don't even kill that many people. More people die of just heart attacks. Like Steve Irwin had a higher chance of dying of a heart attack than a stingray. Oh my god.
If you are told to expect the unexpected, but the expected happens, is it then unexpected?
That's a good question, Super Saiyan. If you're told to expect the unexpected, but the expected happens. Well, the expected is expected. So it's just always assumed. We always expect. So it can't be unexpected. Something can't be unexpected if it was expected. Only the unexpected is unexpected. But if you expect the unexpected, then you're expecting all the expecting options. You're just assuming anything can happen at any point, and you're never unexpected. You'll never be surprised if you're just constantly on guard. Just be constantly vigilant. Okay, is this finally dolphins? Are we finally on the dolphin one?
Yeah, I'm really gonna have to explain putting dolphins here. Okay, well I feel like this.
I knew it'd be dolphin. Hi, thank you for the. Do I sound weird?
This weird thing happened where we went from Free Willy to finding out dolphins take that title seriously. So much that we ended up overcorrecting. And I personally and publicly talked endless amounts of shit. Don't get me wrong, the facts I said, I'll say again, and I'll say it with my chest. But me calling them water Weinsteins or homicidal hot dogs or a blowhole bandit, nah, that's actually still crazy. But that's just me anthropomorphizing. I don't actually think they're evil. It's fun to treat them like humans, but they're still
They're evil.
Just wild animals doing what comes naturally. It's just that what comes naturally often involves them naturally. Actually, I should never mind. Look, with intelligent animals, there's always going to be duality. And
There's so many weird, crazy dolphin stories. I just don't trust it. Canada doesn't exist. God, where am I? Where do you think I am, sir? Sir, am I just in made-up land? Am I just like non-existing? Am I just like a figment of your guys' imagination? Because I don't feel like a figment.
I don't even need to say it. I just have to show you these two articles. But dolphins can be wholesome too. Like the same way parents will baby talk a toddler, mother dolphins actually do with their calves. They'll also sing to their baby before it's even born to teach them to recognize the sound of its mother's voice. We also found out that dolphins...
America's hat. Oh, maybe. How about instead that America's Canada's butthole? Just saying.
In a pod will often go out of their way to make less noise so to not confuse the calf in the oven. And when it's out, being a helicopter parent means mama dolphin won't sleep for up to a month straight. There's also decent evidence that dolphins get excited around pregnant women because they can detect the fetus and understand the implication of new life. And of course, there are stories of dolphins saving people from drowning and sharks. Hey man, I'm not...
Aww, they're evil, but they're also wholesome. Does that mean America has its ass in the air? Yes. Yes. We just gotta normalize it. We gotta normalize it. Wait, Hex, does that mean you were a dolphin girl? Because there was 2 types of girls growing up. Well, actually, arguably, there was 3 types of girlies. There was the dolphin girls, there was the horse girls, and there was the cat girls. Those were the 3 options. I knew dolphin girls, I knew horse girls. I was a cat girl. I was like, dolphins are cute, horses are nice, but cats. Yep, I am dolphin girl. Okay, Hex, you're a dolphin girl. Do we got any cat? We got any cat girls or horse girls in chat? And don't worry, even if you're not a girl, you can still be a horse girl, and you can still be a cat girl, and you can still be a dolphin girl. Okay, you're a shark boy. I feel like shark boy and dolphin girls are the same energy. So if you're a shark boy, you're a dolphin girl. And I feel like if you're a horse girl, you're a dinosaur boy. And if you're a dog boy, you're a cat girl. It's the same thing. What about lava girl? Lava girl is just a cat girl in disguise. No, that's a car guy. Wait, what's a car? Oh my god, a car guy is a horse guy. Girl, that makes sense. That tracks. Wait, then what about a dinosaur? What about a dinosaur guy? It's not. Yes, it is. Because I say so.
I'm not going soft. I'm still gonna get my jokes off whenever I can. I just feel like because they're so smart, people make the mistake of holding them to human standards, which is pretty unfair considering a lot of humans don't even reach those. Dolphins aren't Disney characters or the spawn of Satan. They're just them. And as the final boss of dolphins, you can go ahead and put orcas in that too.
Orcas are spawn of Satan's. Dinosaur guy is kind of like Monster Girl. Monster Girl. Was there any Monster Girls that I know of? Try to remember if I know anybody that was a Monster Girl. Rescue cats are so cute. Maybe like a Monster Girl, like a Monster High girl. Like the girls that played with Monster High dolls.
The greatest trick squirrels ever pulled was convincing the world they're just whimsical, nut-loving creatures, when they're actually rodent psychopaths profiting off pretty privilege. They'll eat things like baby birds, baby bunnies, and even...
I always thought squirrels were so nice. I'm so traumatized. I'm so traumatized, chat. They eat baby birds and baby bunnies.
Even snakes. Red squirrels are also part-time cannibals, with males that'll seek and destroy any pups, only to get with the mother of the kids they just murked. Let's not forget that time a group of squirrels dismembered a dog for barking too loud. Also, the number of squirrels with manslaughter charges is higher than you think. It's estimated that chew-happy bushtails cause up to
Squirrel meat is
30,000
delicious. Craw, craw.
Guys, squirrels kill people more than sharks. Squirrels kill people more than sharks.
a year, not only costing millions in damage, but likely barbecuing human collateral in the process. There was even a time a squirrel damaged the electrical system of a complex with NASDAQ, freezing computers and crippling the market for over an hour. That wouldn't be the last time. In fact, one did the
Oh my god, squirrels.
exact same thing 7 years later. Now I know I'm doing the squirrels what I just admitted I've done to dolphins, but in my defense, I have a bias. I once got jumped by a pack of squirrels in Manhattan, and that was one half of a sandwich I never got back. Moral of the story, there's a reason the smartest man in the universe immediately took a knee in the face of the Acorn Mafia.
Wait. I guess the criminally misunderstood animals means we also have to understand that there's bad animals. So squirrels bad, guys. Stay away from squirrels. They will murder you. No wonder there's a game called Squirrel with a Gun. It's now so believable.
And here you have another case of animal gaslight. Pigs only get the reputation of being dirty because we keep them in filth. In reality, pigs are pretty clean, and when they have a
I always wanted a pet pig. If I ever have enough money to own a small little house, and I will get a pig, it's gonna be cute.
choice, they'll refuse to poop anywhere near where they eat. Pigs are arguably smarter than cats and dogs, and most experts say they're more trainable too. They somewhat passed the mirror test, and some were even taught to play video games. In '98, Lulu the potbelly saved her owner from a near-fatal heart attack by rushing out into the road and playing dead until she could get someone's attention and lead them back home. I also feel like we forget how well pigs did without us, and from the Red River hog of the Congo, to the pygmy hog of India, to the bearded Borneo pig, the swine smart enough and adaptable enough to live virtually anywhere. On a dolphin-type beat, mother pigs will often sing to their piglets while nursing, and speaking of piglets, they can recognize their name at only 2 weeks old. You can argue pigs are everything we value in an animal. They're intelligent, they're affectionate, they're super trainable. Because they were bred for food, they got big screwed. Look, I'm not gonna virtue signal. You can give me 101 facts on cows, I'll probably still be out here door dashing McDonald's. But it's pretty criminal what we did to the pig's PR. Put it this way, this guy would have been by far the smartest character in the barnyard. They deserve way better than what they've gotten. And I'm not saying you have to give up bacon. All I'm gonna say is, according to cannibals, the closest tasting thing to human meat is pork.
That's what I keep telling you guys. Pigs taste like humans. Crispy bacon. That's a great name, though. I'm just saying, look, but there's a certain consistency here. Certainly, the cannibals themselves seem to have generally considered it closer to pork, and indeed close enough that they were happy to label it as such when selling it to unfortunate members of the public through the meat market and hot dog stands of 1920s Germany and Poland. Gobble, gobble.
I'm gonna let y'all meditate on that. Rats are number 4, and almost entirely because they got blamed for the bubonic plague when the
I love rats. Rats are great. Don't you dare hate on rats. They are clean, they are cute, they are great pets. If you want a cute, low maintenance pet, a rat is great.
main carrier of the lice and fleas that caused it, was likely humans themselves. My theory is rats are found in cities, and cities are usually dirty, so we often see all rats as dirty. In reality, rats are constantly cleaning themselves. In fact, one of the ways they bond is by grooming each other. It's called allogrooming. Speaking of bonds, rats can often form emotional ones with humans, and anyone who's had a rat will tell you, at some point they'll try to groom you like you're a giant rat. Rats can also provide a public service, with many African poached rats actually being trained to sniff out tuberculosis. The same
They're so cute. They're less likely to kill you than a squirrel.
species has been used to sniff out hidden landmines, and not only can they cover the ground in 20 minutes that would take a trained human days, they can obviously walk across the mines without going back to ground zero. Magawa, the explosive tech rat, earned a gold medal after sussing out 100 mines in Cambodia and clearing 225,000 square feet of land. He's
Look at his big little ears. He's so cute.
not the only heroic rodent. There are several stories of rats saving owners from house fires where they easily could have hightailed it. You know, if it wasn't for the bad PR, rats just might be the top pet. Only bad side with them is they have short lifespans and your feelings will get hurt.
Boop.
You know, the fact
Warning, spiders ahead. How are spiders misunderstood? Now, I actually really like spiders because they eat the bugs. So I'm a big spider fan.
The fact that this is the only animal that needed a trigger warning is enough to put spiders at third. Now, I'm not going to downplay arachnophobia like I
I
didn't
have
used
a
to.
cloaca. I can't fart.
Who said you can't fart out of a cloaca? Nobody said that. Cloaca does do poop. Why can't it fart? I guarantee birds can fart. We can look up a video of birds farting, okay? Somebody stole my hair.
To backpedal to pigeons, but spiders are a great example of bark being way worse than their bite. Take the tarantula, they're like the granddaddy of arachnid anxiety, but not only is their venom about as bad as a bee sting, not only are they so fragile they can literally explode if they fall a couple feet. Unlike bees, there's no record of tarantula venom.
No.
My forehead is free real estate. Who wants to live on my forehead? Don't.
I'm terminating a person.
Yes.
Of course, there's thousands of types of tarantulas, and some are more of a geode than others. But then you have the ones that adopt frogs as nannies, with the frog eating all the insects that could grief the spider's eggs, and the frog getting an 8-legged bodyguard. Truth is, there's about 50,000 species of spiders seasoning the earth, and less than 0.1% of them are a legitimate threat to your life. And that doesn't include the smallest spider in the world, the patu de gua, or jumping spiders, which are literally small enough to wear water as a hat. And when you add
Jumping spiders are so incredibly cute. Like, I don't care what kind of spider phobia you have. Like, you cannot tell me jumping spiders are not the cutest thing ever.
the fact that they basically have paws to help them walk vertical, and that some like the wolf spider can purr, are spiders not just the cats of insects? Oh my bad, arachnids. According to the CDC, the number of people murked by spiders a year is 7. You're more likely to get slept by a vindictive vending machine. Okay, you're not
7 people die. You're more likely to die of squirrels, guys. Be scared of squirrels more than scared of spiders. Yeah, some spiders can purr.
impressed. How about this? Spiders eat up to 800 million tons of insects that could otherwise destroy crops. If Thanos had beef with spiders, not only would there be way less food, it would be stupid expensive. You can thank spiders for a 4 for 4 not setting you back 400. Not to mention all the pesticides we need to stay alive would ironically turn the Earth into a disaster movie. Look, I'm not saying you gotta a cape for spiders. I know I'm biased. In fact, bias is probably why the next animal is number 2. I love Lion King, but they'll forever catch smoke for convincing an entire generation.
What brand of jacket is on this potato? It's the standard brand. It's the jacket potato, potato. Don't you know? The jacket potato, potato. It's the jacket of the jacket potato. It's jacket potato, potato perception. It's delicious.
Generation that hyenas are, well, that. Hyenas got profiled as scavengers when up to 95% of what they eat is something they can get credit for killing. Gaslight goes crazy because the literal Lion King poaches more food from hyenas than hyenas hoe lions.
Yeah, hyenas are pretty bad. They're pretty scary.
And since a laugh-happy vice trap eats every part of an animal, like land vultures, the world would be a much nastier place without the meerkat on a bulk. Everyone wants to shit on the garbage man until he quits and leaves you with the shit. But honestly, it's the stupid part that gets me heated. In experiments, spotted hyenas actually perform better in cooperative problem-solving tests than chimpanzees.
Also, in one of our previous videos we watched of him, hyenas have pseudo-penises. Just so you know.
You know, the chainsaw with thumbs we share 98% of our DNA with. Hyenas are way smarter than they get credit for. Take Waffles, for example. Waffles was a lady hyena in a clan, and at the very bottom of it, no less. And in just a year, she went from the dirt under the ladder to the alpha at the very top, and she didn't even have to fight for it. All she needed was the power of friendship.
It's impossible to tell a male and female hyena apart at a glance.
I'm serious, Waffles slowly made the right friends, built alliances with other low ranks, earned favor with some of the higher ups, and before the ones at the top could even realize it, the hyena named Waffles had caused what scientists would later refer to as the Syrup Rising. And you'd think she'd go power hungry when she got the throne, but nah, the opposite. She never switched up on the ones that got her there, and there were even times where she helped feed the cubs of low status moms. Cause hyena hierarchy is more about social networking and climbing the corporate ladder than just running fades all day. See, you wouldn't know that from just watching Lion King, and while some are starting to come around to this giant maligned mongoose, one movie ruined the last animals rep damn near permanently. There was no way sharks weren't getting the #1 spot, and really, any way you look at it, we did this overgrown grief guppy grimy. How about the fact that the shark's KD ratio is about 10 a year to the 100 million that get murked by people? What about the fact that a coconut to the dome or a bathtub accident is way more likely
I'm relieved.
What are you relieved for? For the sharks?
to flatline you than a shark? There's the fact that we have over 500 species of them, but really only about 4 are seen as legitimately dangerous, so I don't blame you for folding the great whites, tiger sharks, bull sharks, and the underrated oceanic white tip. But this is a shark, and it's unproblematic to anything that isn't plankton. Same thing with the basking, aka Kirby shark, which is really just a giant pacifish.
This shark is so strange looking.
Then you got white-tip reef sharks that are not only non-aggressive, they cuddle each other to sleep. And you can't forget the lemon shark being the golden retriever of the sea that'll often form bonds with divers. Blondie was an 8-foot lemon shark that would go up to divers, but the only thing she'd be hunting for is attention.
You're like knocking on the microphone. Can you guys hear that? The knocking on the microphone in the background?
And affection. And while yeah, I'm not exactly a huge fan of this, at the end of the day, I wouldn't want a shark in my living room. You can't be mad when you go into theirs. Because if there's one thing you should take from this video, calling it shark-infested waters is really wild disrespectful. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Make sure you drink water, hug your mother, and maybe give guppies a break. I promise you loan sharks end way more lives. Shout out to NordVPN for sponsoring this video, and I'ma see y'all in the next one.
Cuidado, cuidado.
What's it gonna be?
Ahí va, ahí va.
Ah!
Sí.
The vulture was just chilling and vibing. The vulture was chilling and vibing.
Ahora venga, a volar.
Yeah, go get yourself a snack here. Oh my god. Oh my god, the background sounds. Knock, knock, knock.